Hey guys, so I'm on the SoFit challenge, and but before that, before all that, I want to introduce you to Sohrab. Sohrab is a qualified professional coach who is going to tell us the importance of healing ourselves through fitness. It's really important during this quarantine time because you have to come out a fitter, healthier you. You can't be this sluggish person sitting at home doing nothing. So here you go. Hi everyone, I'm here with Sohrab, and he's the first in our Heal Yourself series. And today we're going to talk about how we need to heal ourselves through fitness, because everyone is baking amazing cakes and everyone is like cooking amazing food online, and all that's going to be just sitting in our stomach, making us feel really horrible and guilty because some of us won't be able to fit into our fancy clothes after post COVID. So please tell us how to feel good, and why is it so important to work out during the quarantine period? If it is, if it's not, then please let us know as well.
Okay, a few things, right? One is COVID is a situation that we're all kind of stuck in that sense at this moment in time. The one thing that I would like people to understand is that it's not an excuse to suddenly eat everything we wanted. It's not an excuse to just sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix. There are way more things we can do even during this period. As far as baking cakes and stuff are concerned, I mean, go ahead and bake your cakes. That's totally fine. But I think there's a certain amount that we need to control as far as what we put into our system. Right now, we're talking about a pandemic. We're talking about a thing that could kind of hit any of us at this point in time. But we're going to try and protect ourselves as much as possible. And I honestly believe staying fit will help you stay protected. I'm not saying fit people haven't fallen sick, but I'm just saying that it will help you in that endeavor. As far as fitness is concerned, and as far as health is concerned at a moment like this, I think we need to do two things. We need to take things back to being very, very simple. Okay, so let's talk about the food side first, then we'll talk about the exercise part second. I think the food is very, very important. At a time like this, we need our vitamins, we need our minerals, we need the right kind of food going into our system so that our system is protected. You do not get vitamin C, vitamin D, and all these important vitamins and minerals and your proteins through cakes. You don't get them through pizzas. I know people would want to believe that, but that's not true. So why are we feeding ourselves that? Right? Why are we putting in excess sugar into our body and excess junk food into our body? Is that going to protect us from something? It's not. Right? Let's take a measure. I think my parents did. I'm slightly older than most people are, or the young kids around now. And I think the thing that I remember most is the way my parents ate. My parents are both 78 and in their 70s, and they still go to office every single day of their life. They still move around every single day of their life. And they've eaten a certain way. Our parents and grandparents ate a certain way. They didn't have, these as options. They didn't have pizzas and cakes as options. They just ate what was available. And they cooked at home. They knew exactly what was going into their food. They kept things very, very simple. There were no fancy recipes and fancy ingredients. They had their normal vegetables, their dals, their rotis, and they ate that. And they're perfectly healthy right now, and they're doing really well. So the first thing I think people need to understand is they need to go back to being simple, go back to eating the way their parents and their grandparents did. And unfortunately, that did not include pizzas. That's
at home, we have nothing to do except cook.
Yeah, so let's cook something that's actually good for you. I mean, I think there are enough things you can make with, look at cauliflower today. Cauliflower has become the new pizza base. Cauliflower is everything, right? Anything and everything you want is cauliflower today. You can make good choices. You can make healthy alternatives to every single thing. And that's what people need to experiment with. Don't experiment with a fancy cake. Experiment by taking a normal, simple ingredient and making it fancy, right? Try your hand at, use the ingredients which are available to you. That's the first thing. And the second thing is fitness, right? Exercise. Exercise hasn't harmed anybody. I'm not saying go out there and run a marathon. I'm not saying go out there and work out for 2 hours nonstop. I'm saying spend 30 minutes of your day moving. I read a quote which I really, really like, and I think it's amazing to kind of touch base on. It said that if you come out of this situation or this pandemic or this corona situation that we're in, uh, not healthier and fitter, then it was never a lack of time that was your excuse. It was always a lack of discipline.
That's
Because
amazing.
time was no longer a problem, right? Time, now you have time. You can't use work as an excuse. You can't use I don't have time. I come back from work really tired. No, you're sitting at home. Get up that 15 minutes earlier. Make that effort. I mean, you've been working out late, and the point is make the effort. Everyone can make an effort, and if you make an effort to just move and stay active,
Yeah.
that's good enough. So fitness doesn't necessarily mean going to a gym and lifting 100 kilos.
Yeah.
Fitness means
So much
movement.
sense.
It means staying active. Even sometimes, even just helping out in the house. I mean, on the challenge on our active recovery days, you've seen it. We get people to clean the house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a very, very good workout. And we finally realized the value of our mates and everyone who helps out in the house, because we know that's a tough job
And they're
suddenly
so
because we're
fit.
doing.
They're so fit. You know, those guys. Our household help is so fit, much fitter than
I
us.
mean, I remember Kelly telling me this. I mean, I've spoken to you guys about Kelly a lot on the challenge, and Kelly Sarah is my idol. But I remember him telling me this when I was with him in San Francisco. He said, in rural India, everyone just sits in that bottom of a squat, haunching. They don't have seats. They just sit in the bottom of a squat like they're, going to the toilet like an Indian do. And he said none of those people have knee problems. None of them have backache issues. They're all bloody good at it. And why are they good at it? Because they keep doing it. And I think it's important that people understand that by sitting on chairs and
I
leading a.
can't do it for more than 3 minutes. That's my goal. I need to sit in the Indian toilet position for a minimum of 5 minutes. That's my COVID goal.
I mean, I do this. I eat one meal in that position. I
That's
mean, it could be my quickest meal ever, but I try and eat one meal in that position. So it's a lot that we can learn. Exercise is not only gymming. Exercise is not only going crazy for 20 minutes. Exercise is any kind of movement that keeps you active. That's important. And I think that's very, very
really
important.
important because I did a tiny experiment. So I wore the Fitbit or Apple Watch or whatever it was, and I counted my steps. So there are days where I've done 300 steps. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Especially at a time like this, everyone's sitting at home, everyone's just sitting on their chairs and not doing much with their life. So your steps are going to go down, you're going to be less active, and that is a
So
problem.
lethargic.
People need to do something very simple. They need to mobilize, so they need to kind of foam roll and stretch every single day because we're constantly sitting. They need to be active for at least 30 to 40 minutes a day, and preferably if that's exercise at home, great. And you need to eat simple, and that will kind of help you more than harm you.
That's amazing. So we have to come out. So I think a great quarantine challenge would be to sit in the Indian toilet position first. I think that's something that we all should do. Anything
I
else
think
that
everyone.
we should do during the quarantine time to actually boost our immunity that'll help us?
No, it's food. Immunity really comes out with food. I don't know if you were there when I had this chat with Shaheen, and Shaheen's also she's works on the mental health side, and she said it actually helps as far as the mental health side is concerned as well. Exercise releases the right hormones in your body,
Yeah.
and there is no harm in exercising. I really don't see a harm.
But see, a lot of people don't have equipment at home. So I literally have a small balcony with one treadmill and a couple of weights for my husband, and that's about it. Is that enough?
Yeah, more than enough. Your body is more than enough. I mean, you've seen it, right? We're
Yeah.
doing the challenge right now where every single day we give people body weight options. Yeah, it might not be everything that you want. It might not be, you don't, I mean, some people just get a high out of lifting really heavy weights. Yeah, you don't get that. But trust me, I was someone who thought I couldn't live without a gym. I've gone through the last 4 weeks enjoying working out in my living room, and I don't think I'll ever go. I mean, I think it'll become a part of my routine going forward. So I think you can do a lot with your own body. That's just a question of experimenting. And you know what? We've gotten creative with weights. I've gotten creative with weights. I lift my son sometimes and I squat. I don't think my wife approves of that. I lift a chair, I put it on my back. I take a backpack, I fill it up with everything that I can, make it nice and heavy, and then work out with that in my hand. So that becomes my weight. You can be really creative if you want to. It's just a question of wanting to do it.
So tell me, how will the fitness industry change post-COVID? Because, I run gyms and I don't think people will feel safe coming to a gym for quite some time right now. So how do you think this whole fitness industry will change? How will personal training change? How will all this, because people spend so much money on personal training and going to the gym and stuff like that. What do you feel? What's your thought?
I mean, I think it's going to take some time for everything to go back to normal. I think that's with any industry right now.
Will it
Any
ever go
industry.
back to normal, or will it just change completely?
I hope it goes back to normal. I mean, I think it's important that people take their health seriously. I think it's important that people go to gyms because you know what? If nothing else, it gets a lot of people out of the house and it gets their mind focused as well. I think things are going to kind of change for the short term. I mean, you're not going to have crowded gyms. You're not going to have, I think people will work out at home more than they will go outdoors. I think people will have their trainers coming home and working with them one on one. I think they'll prefer that and find that safe, at least in the short term. Online and virtual coaching, I think, is going to blow out of proportion because everyone's going to want to kind of train people irrespective, and they're going to want to have their coaches watching over them. So I mean, everything happens online, so why not coaching? I think that's going to be another factor going forward. And hopefully, once everything kind of eases out, maybe a few months down the line, hopefully things will go back to normal. I really hope they do. I really hope they do.
See, when we are doing this and you're talking about online, I'm like thinking that I need to change the strategy of my gyms and figure out how the whole system is going to change, to keep people safer. But coming back to that, I wanted to ask you, what are the 5 qualities one should look for in a personal trainer while choosing a personal trainer?
I mean, the first thing I would look for is a person who's willing to listen, not only someone who's going to kind of stamp their authority on you and say you can only do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. I think you need to understand who you're working with and cater to them. You can't just have a set principle and expect it to apply to every single person. That's the first thing. I think every coach needs to look the part. I don't think I would train with someone who looks really big and fat and out of shape. I think a coach, I mean, for me, a coach has always inspired me to work harder. So if my coach does not inspire me to work harder, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to do that. I think that's very important. Third, I think it's very, very important that you understand that, as a coach, or when I'm looking for a coach, I don't like someone who's overselling themselves. I don't know if that makes sense, but a coach is a coach. A trainer is a trainer. He should not be sitting there and giving you advice on medication or on food because they're not qualified. You give an instruction to something you're qualified to do. Even for me, if there is any nutrition-based question, I always push it onto my nutritionist. I think it's important that a qualified person handles it. So you've got to have someone with good qualifications. I think man management, I don't know whether people understand this, but a coach today spends more time with you than possibly your best friend does, right? If you take a coach 5 days a week, 5 hours a week you're spending with that person, I don't know if I spend 5 hours a week with my best friend. I genuinely don't know if I do that with my work hours the way they are. So it obviously has to be someone I can communicate with, someone who can have a conversation with me. And I would obviously look at their body of work. What have they done? What are they talking about? What's their history like? Where are they coming from? And those are the 5 important things as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a bit of an uneasy question, but so many people have it in their mind, especially women. So, what's the line that guests should draw, that people should draw with their trainer, and the trainer shouldn't cross, and the guests shouldn't cross? Because I hear these crazy stories sometimes of these weird relationships and people uncomfortable with the trainer touching them here, there, everywhere. So, this virtual thing is amazing because it solves so many issues. But what do you think is the line that shouldn't be crossed?
Hey, if it's possible as a coach, try and never touch your student. I think that's the first thing. You don't really need to touch your student to show them what's working and what's not. I think you can explain it to them by showing them the movement yourself. And everyone's a grown up today. Everyone understands what needs to be done, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is, if you really need to show what you're trying to affect or what needs to be shown, please ask them for your permission. Do not just presume that permission is given. That's the second thing. And third, I think there is a level of decency that everyone needs to maintain. I as a coach, I mean, for me, every student is a student, and I call them students. I don't call them clients because I don't like the word client. Every student is a student, and that's it. You've got to keep it at that, and make sure you kind of don't get too emotionally attached as a coach, and you'll be fine. Because at the end of the day, everyone does move on, right? Every coach will train you for a certain amount of years, and then you will find someone else to coach you. And that's life. That's the way life works. I think as a coach, your primary objective is to make sure you improve somebody, make sure they're getting better, and then your job is done. And if they want to stick around and coach with you because you're constantly improving yourself, then I think that's a plus. But otherwise, simple. Don't touch your students. You don't need to, even if it's in jest. And if you ever have to, really have to, please ask them for permission. Simple.
That's some great knowledge. Thank you so much. So many women will feel so comfortable now, and they'll know they're right, right now. But thanks, that's really cleared the air on so many things. Now, coming back to the solution. So all of us are sitting at home. We just heard today that, the lockdown is going to be till May 3rd, and it may go on also. So you have something called the SoFit challenge, and I've been on it. And trust me, that's my only source of sanity right now, because I have so much going on. And even if it's 2 a.m., because of the fact that all my friends are on the group, I'm actually doing those challenges. They're really easy. Can you just give all the audience just a bit in like 5 sentences on why this challenge is so cool and why so many people do it?
I don't, I mean, some reason I don't think of it as cool. I think it's very, very important. I mean, it's been my baby. It's something that I kind of experimented with my own campers about last year, and it really worked. And then we kind of decided, why don't we kind of do more research on this and bring it out? For me, I think you can only get better and fitter if you combine food and workout. One by itself is never going to work, right? I think both need to be combined. So, and plus, I'm not someone who's been a diet person. I don't like the word diet. I don't like following diets. I like keeping things very, very simple. I think you've heard me say that a lot of times on the challenge. So I like keeping my food simple. I like having a structure in place as far as the workouts are concerned, because I think it helps. I think every coach needs to know where they can push boundaries and where they can push buttons, and how they need to kind of gradually bring a student up to a level where you can push them even more. So from that perspective, I like the challenge, because we build people up slowly to a level where we then start pushing them towards the last phase of the challenge. And I am blessed. I have some amazing coaches with me. I think each one of them, from Noni to Mehek to Parvez to Sanika to Unnati, I'm blessed with some really amazing people in my team. And to have 5 coaches look at you every single day and make sure that you're covered. I mean, you've seen the way it works. We try and find alternatives for everything. We try and make sure that you're checking your food and making sure your food is right, and just cheering you on and motivating you. I think that itself is something that's very, very important. We make people accountable not only to themselves, but to their community and their group. We put everyone on a group together. You've been on a group with your friends, like you said, and just being accountable to someone else. The fact that, your friends have done it makes you want to go at 2 a.m. and try it out and finish it off, irrespective of what's going on with your life. Which is very important. I think for some reason, human beings, we're social animals. Even though we're stuck at home right now, I think we're social animals, and we work better when there is some social accountability involved to what we're doing. So if I left it only to you to kind of say, okay, here's your plan, this is what I want you to do, make sure you're done, we'll talk 40 days later, it'll never happen.
Oh, right? Yeah, for sure.
But the fact that you have 30 other people in the group who are saying, okay, come on, you can do this, let's get this done. Everyone sharing their food experiences, their workout experiences, how they did the workout, what their strategy was. I think that itself is motivating enough for you to go ahead and give it a shot. And even if that's you being alone in your room at 2 a.m. doing the workout, but you still at the back of your mind, like, okay, my whole crew has done this, I cannot let anyone down. And for some reason, that works much better than personal accountability. and that's why I like it. I think there's so much more to just working out. Working out is one part of it, and just being with your friends and sharing something like this. I think a lot of you all have shared things about yourself which you wouldn't generally share, from your insecurities to what works for you, what doesn't, what's been happening with your injuries, what's not. We generally don't tend to share that. So in that sense, in all-round sense, it's kind of worked really well and it's fit in really well. So I'm very, very proud of the challenge. I think it's my baby and I love it. And with the team that I have, I mean, I've always wanted to help people, and the purpose of the challenge was help as many people as you possibly can, even if you can't meet them in person. So this was my way of kind of trying to reach out to as many people as possible.
Okay, so the reason why he's saying 2 a.m. because he gets messages from me at that time because I work out at that time. And also, I must tell you this, that I've trained with so many trainers from around the world, spent so much money, and didn't get the happiness that I'm getting on this challenge. I'm honestly telling you. And I run a couple of gyms as well. So the other trainers are going to be pretty pissed off, but that's fine. But I'm giving you my honest opinion because I'm doing it with my friends who are in different parts of the country, and we really, really enjoy this challenge. So luckily, there's a challenge starting on the 20th. So I think, if you request him, he'll push the date, but it like closes on, I think registrations close on 16th. So if you can, please try and register now. Don't do it alone, register with friends, because that means so much. So I have 5-6 of my friends doing it with me. I'm on my 30th day today, and I'm going to extend the challenge as well. So hope to see all of you on the challenge.
As long as, I think what people need to understand is, and what we want people to understand is, we want them to come out of this situation, come out of the lockdown a lot fitter, a lot healthier, a lot better to face the world.
Yeah.
And that's the endeavor. We genuinely want to make sure that, and you know what, I think it's very important. Someone said this really well. When you talk to people nowadays, it's not about stay safe, yes, but it's also stay sane. I think this is taking massive impact on our mental state as well, staying at home, lockdown. And this is something that's going to help stay sane as well, because you've got something to do and you've got a structure to look forward.
Yes. And also, I must tell everyone that after a long time, on the scale, maybe I've lost 1 or 2 kgs, but my body fat percentage has come down and I can see a good jawline. So my friends have been telling me about my jawline and I'm feeling so great about myself. Thank you. Even during this depressing time, I'm feeling great about myself, and that wouldn't have happened without SoFit. I am not forcing any of you to get on the program, but trust me, do it with friends, and it's a really fun thing to do at this time. So that's why I'm recommending this, and he has a great team. So take this more, not like a fitness challenge, but take it as a fun thing to do during this time. Thank you, Sohrab. Thank you so much. And I hear Alia's also on this plan, right?
Yes, she and her sister both, Shaheen and Alia, are both on the plan. They're on day 31 as well. So yeah, they're doing really well.
Nice. Well, she was supposed to act with my husband, but we have to wait and watch when this whole thing gets better.
Hopefully everything will turn back and everything will be back to normal pretty soon. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Thank you so much, and look forward to catching up with most of you on the challenge.
Thank you so much, Upasana. Thank you.
Thanks.